Hi YouTube, this is Ken with MacGyver_me. Today we're going to be unboxing a some knockoff Chinese brand of a manual sewing machine. You'll see it when I unbox it. I think it comes disassembled, so we have to assemble it. So that's what we're going to do today. So let's jump right into it.
Looks like they taped it up pretty good.
An operation instruction manual here. Looks like a 2-pager. A bottle to hold oil. This is the pedestal that the machine mounts to, and it has legs. Should have 3 legs. I won't be using this pedestal. I'll probably be making my own stand because I've seen online these guys who have these, and it just doesn't look like it's rigid enough. So, well, would you look at that? They gave us a spool of thread. All right, what do we have here? All right, gloves. I've seen guys making these online. This is to thread the machine. You'll see that in a little while. I'll show you more. But looks like these guys who manufactured this have been hearing people on YouTube state that it's very hard to thread at a certain part of the machine, so I will show you that. Phillips screwdriver, wrench. Looks like they gave us some needles and some mounting hardware. Alright, this is the manual part of the machine. Instead of using a motor, we are the motors. This will spin to make the machine operate. It came pretty oiled down. It has 2 different grooves in here, and I'll show you how that goes when I assemble it. So here you have the back part of the machine, this side. Oops. This here threads into this. This is what the thread sits on. But I've seen online where they had to manipulate this some so it operates properly. Remember, this is a Chinese knockoff. So looks like they gave us, it appears to be, hold on a second. Alright, they gave us 2 very small bobbins, actually 3. Alright, this looks a little different, but there's a bobbin inside of the bobbin holder, so we'll look at that in a little bit. Alright, it looks like they, I don't know if you can see that, they have a piece of leather here, and they showed a sample stitch in here, and the machine has a thread on it. So yeah. Then also over here, when the wheel is on, this is the bobbin winder. So when the wheel sits on, that wheel sits on here, the crank, this comes over, there's a bobbin that sits on this tapered screw. And then you wind it just like a regular sewing machine, but you're doing it manually. And you see the bearings here and here, and then you got the shaft. That's what that sits on. But Like I said, I'm going to make a hard mount for this to sit on so it's more rigid instead of that. And in the back side here, you can see it has mounting holes. So I'll probably make something for that and then just continue on with the video after that. But let's go ahead and see about mounting this. So normally you have a cotter pin, but they use a screw for their cotter pin. See the groove in here? Okay. So this bearing here goes for the small indentation here, and then the larger, the upper one goes to the outer. So we gotta align those. Alright. Put the screw on. I'll go grab a wrench and tighten her down, but nonetheless, this is how the machine sits for the most part. Like this. But like I said, this doesn't seem rigid enough when you're trying to sew on it and you manipulate the machine manually. So I'll make a different pedestal for it, like I said. And so yeah, go ahead and stay tuned to that. Oh, before I continue, threading the machine. So after you bring the thread through its different positions through these two tensioners here, okay, and you come up, I'll show the way you thread it when I get the pedestal on, so I don't have to manipulate the machine like this. There's a hole here that has a shaft that runs all the way down to the needle. So this wire is meant to go down that shaft so you can feed the thread through, actually from the bottom up, and then you pull the thread down. It has a little hook on there. I don't know if you can see that, but yeah, that's what that does. So all right, well, stay tuned, guys. Okay, so continuing on, I made the pedestal for it. So I also eliminated the thread mount that goes here. And I put a straight rod here with a hole up here. The reason why, I heard some complaints on YouTube that when the thread's sitting here, well, first you'd have to build it up to clear this part of the frame, and then it would, you know, then you'd be spinning off the spool. But normally the way they wind these spools is to come off the top. So that's why I put this here. I'm going to go ahead and take this thread out because I already know how it threads. Okay, so it goes through this first hole. How you can tell is that it's kind of tapered, it's kind of flared inwardly right here. This hole here is for oil to keep this shaft lubricated. So we're going to go through the hole here. Then we're going to go inside of this loop, and we're going to go in between the two washers here. Okay, we want it to go inside of that. Then we want to come through this one as well. Oops, sorry, back in this loop. then through that one, or through the top. So through the hole, around the washer, well, through this little U loop here, through it, come back up, and then back on this side of the U, then up underneath this washer, the same thing, and then back through this loop, and then we're gonna come through this hole. Looks like a little spring, but it's not. And then we're gonna kind of come up, let me see if I can show you it. Okay. Can you see this lever here? So you want to come up behind this, through this hole, pull it, and then we're going to use this wire that we had. I'm going to send this up through this hole here. Let me bring you around so that you can see that. There's a hole here that goes all the way up this shaft, all the way up into here. See that? All right. We're gonna grab the thread, holding tension on it, and we're gonna pull it through. See that? Just like that. What I didn't explain earlier, this machine, the walk-in foot, this is a walk-in foot. This pivots this way, or rotates, I should say. So you can kind of go in different directions. I'll probably be utilizing mine like this, okay? And I heard people say as you're sewing, this has a tendency to rock like this. So I may find a way to lock this in place so that it doesn't move on me, okay? And so this is some very cheap thread, I'll tell you. It breaks real easy. So let's try this again. Yeah, I'm gonna cut and bring some out. It feels like plastic. What I'll probably do is just wind a new bobbin and put real thread on there. Yeah, this feels like plastic of sorts. Okay. There you have it. Let me grab a piece of leather. How it sews. Alright, it broke the thread already. not bad. This screw underneath here, I don't know if you can see it or not. This screw lengthens and shortens the stitch. So I'm gonna take it up a few and see what it does. All right, I broke the thread once again. What's happening is, I don't know if you can see this, it's winding around this rod here. So, let me see what I can do to fix that. All right, so got a piece of leather. It's pretty thick. I'm gonna just stitch it over and do a little spot here just to show you how the machine works. All right, let's do it. I'm just gonna cut this because I'm not gonna do the whole thing. I always lift the foot when I rotate my material. So one of the things I tried doing is running the machine backwards to see how it would, if it would do like a back stitch. And I press down here to release the tension of the thread so that I can pull it through, because it is pretty tight. So there's the back part of the stitch, and it does back stitch. There's the front, pretty decent for leather. That's the thickness. Now I can go through as thick as this foot here to the bobbin base here. I can sew almost that thick of material with this machine. So yeah, pretty impressed. Okay, so we have the whole thing set up. Got it mounted to the table. So this is how I set up my thread, pulling up off the top of the spool, running up through that rod, and then over through to the top. Seems to be working fine for right now. I may eventually take this and put it on a lathe and put a groove in this, somewhat like a V groove. There's plenty of meat here, it's pretty solid. To be able to run a belt for a electric motor similar to, well, probably one from an old sewing machine with the foot pedal, so that I can use it both manually and with electric. So you wondered why I am putting a YouTube out on this. Well, like I said, I'm MacGyver_me, and I do a lot of different things. So I laser engrave patches that I sew onto hats. So this would definitely be a decent machine to be able to sew the patches onto the hats. And who knows what else I can get into with this. So I wanted to show, I mean, really, for the cost of this thing, it works great. I am very impressed with it. It was only $119 shipped to me through Amazon. And is it the best quality made out there? No, by far it's not. But you know, for doing what I'm going to use it, it's going to work great. All right, I had to do another modification. I believe this thing, this is a lever that you use to rotate the foot 360 degrees, whatever, which way you want to sew on this thing. What the problem was is this was sitting here. This one of the ears that is sorry, I'm trying to hold this with one hand and record. This ear here, or dog leg, whatever you want to call it, it was in the way of the hat being able to pass through here. It would hit it. So I removed it, put the nuts back, tighten them down, we're good to go. And the other modification is I put that bracket on to prevent the head from rotating as well. So now it's rigid. I don't need it to rotate because all I'm doing is sewing hats or putting patches on hats. So that's one modification or two. So the other thing I don't know if you can see it. There's a groove inside of this shaft that goes all the way up where the thread goes through. And so what was happening is my thread kept breaking. So I felt the edge of this on the inside of this, and it was very, very sharp. So I took that shaft out and I filed it down. I have a Dremel tool, and I filed it down, rounded over the edges so it wasn't so. But as soon as I get my hats in, my threads in, I will do another video and show you the process of doing that and how they come out. Okie dokie.